This is a comparative religion video on fasting, and I'm mostly going to compare Islam and Christianity. And by comparing religions, it's clear that Christianity is the correct answer. And so I might do a series of videos on various topics like alleged prophets of other religions being compared to Jesus Christ, the Messiah. And so this is just a good topic to compare different religions, fasting. And I think that anybody should be able to admit that the teachings of Jesus Christ are correct on fasting and that other religions get it completely wrong. And through comparative religions, I think that anybody should be able to tell that most religions are obviously complete garbage out there with bad teachings, and people are not going to be able to say the same thing about the teachings of Jesus Christ, which will ring true. How many out here didn't even know that in Ramadan, they're having huge feasts every night? Look at this. Doesn't this look like a joke? Doesn't this look like a skit on SNL or something? This giant feast, order the Ramadan family meal. It's because Islam is a bad religion. It's not good, and their teachings are garbage, and their Ramadan is an excellent example of the hypocrisy of these people. And if you're stuck in Islam because you were born into it, I don't shame these people for it, but they need to wake up and realize that they're following a backwards false prophet, and that their religion has really bad teachings that go against all common sense, and that Jesus told us the right way to do it. I mean, I feel the same way about Catholics. There shouldn't be any Catholics because there's so many Catholic traditions that directly contradict the very Bible that they use. Anyways, let's get into the whole fasting thing. So, did you know, during Ramadan, even though you'll hear these people talk constantly about how much they're fasting, they're eating giant portions every night. They have a feast literally every night. They're day fasting. They won't tell you that readily. They won't say, "Oh, I'm just not eating during the day." They always come forward, "Oh, I'm fasting. I'm fasting. Do you know what Jesus told us? Don't tell anybody. If you're going to fast, don't tell anybody about it. That's what Jesus said. Because humility is good. To brag about stuff, and especially to brag about spiritual things, is clearly not the way. We're not supposed to puff ourselves up and look at how amazing I am. And Christians do the same thing. I've known tons of Christians that love to brag about their fasts. And you're not supposed to even tell anybody about it. So even Christians that brag about fasting, they're not doing the right thing either. They're not listening to Jesus. Okay, so in Ramadan, you'll get these Muslims that they talk nonstop about how much they're fasting. They're not fasting. They're just not eating during the day. They're day fasting. If you want to use the word fast, say that you're day fasting. You're sun fasting, which also shows that a lot of these religions start to go into things like worshiping the sun and things like that. They're just, when the sun, they're following a rule. And this is to get into comparing religions. A lot of other religions this is how Islam is very similar to Judaism, in that it's all about rules and who can be the best rule follower. The word Islam is all about submission and rule following. And these people think that by being the best rule follower, that's how they get into heaven. Does that sound like that makes sense? That God only lets the people into heaven who are the most bestest rule followers? Or does God know all of our hearts and it's about more than that? It's not just about following rules. Okay. So what have I not said? I've said a lot. Let's just look at my slides and see what's going on here. Clearly hypocrites though, right? You can't puff yourself up as this great person who's fasting all the time when what you're actually doing is just not eating during the day and then feasting every night. That's not a fast if you're having a feast every night. And it's not even just that. They will wake up in the morning before the sun rises to eat then. And not only that, they will completely change their living habits during this month just to make it easier. You'll hear of Muslims that they just start to sleep during the day. Well, I'm just going to sleep during the day, and then I wake up and I eat my feast, and then I do most of my stuff at night, and then I have another snack before I go to bed before the sun comes up. They literally will just start living opposite. They'll start sleeping during the day and just eating at night. Feasting. Not even eating. Feasting. So while these people are saying that they're fasting, they are eating more than they normally do. The economic impact of Ramadan on the food sector. Not only food bills increase by 50 to 100% during Ramadan, they almost eat double what they normally eat when they're going around claiming to be fasting. Do you see how ludicrous this is? The hypocrisy. God does not like hypocrites. How does Ramadan affect business in the food industry? Food bills soar by at least 50% in this time. They spend 15% of their annual food expenditure during this month. Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 to 18 talk about this. This is Jesus' teachings on this. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance. Don't go on YouTube and complain. You don't even need to look up when Ramadan is. You'll just start seeing the comments on YouTube. Oh, I'm fasting, I'm fasting. How many of you who have already seen hundreds of comments about people bragging about fasting? That's how I know it's Ramadan time. Oh, the YouTube comments are popping up again of everybody and their mom talking about how they're fasting now. Oh, you mean day fasting? How you're just not eating when the sun's up and you're going to scarf your face later tonight. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Even here too, it shows that they're hypocrites. May appear unto men to fast. So a lot of them, they aren't even really fasting, and they're just making it appear as if they are. That's the entire thing of Ramadan. You're not fasting if you're having huge banquets every night, and if you're waking up early to eat before, and if you're changing your sleep schedule so that you're not even awake during the day anymore, just so that you're eating more. It's so ludicrous. But they do it because in the mind of Islam, if you take it to be truth, they think that it's just all about the rules. There's a reason that Islam is very similar to Judaism. And you know that how the Jews, they think that they can like trick God by doing things in ways so that they're technically following the rule, but they're totally breaking the spirit of the rule. That's Ramadan in a nutshell. They're supposed to be fasting. Little did you know, during the nighttime, they're just feasting away like they never have been. It is crazy. Okay. Fasting is unbiblical and even spiritually harmful when we do it to show off our spirituality. See Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 to 18. Or when we focus more on our own fasting than on the clear needs of others. See Isaiah chapter 58, verses 1 through 11. I didn't read those, but maybe I should after I turn this off. Don't boast about your fast. Tell people you won't be eating only if necessary. Fasting is a spiritual tool, just like prayer, and it works. It really does, but don't go around telling people about it. If you're really going through something difficult, praying about it and fasting will absolutely help. And maybe I've probably done videos on fasting in the past. I have a personal story. I won't get into a bunch of details, but I have seen the power of fasting when you're desperate, and God will answer. Is the NIV purposefully removing references to fasting? I think it's very possible. And it's hard to research this, but there's many instances where the New International Version seems to erase verses about fasting or downplay the importance of fasting, remove parts that are... I think that there's a place where they keep the part that it talks about prayer, but then they'll like remove the part that talks about fasting, which is very suspicious. And yeah, you don't see people in modern day Christianity push fasting as much as prayer. Prayer's always talked about. It doesn't seem like modern day Christians talk that much about fasting, but it's a very powerful spiritual tool. And just to make this not only about Islam versus Christianity, but I think that this is an amazing, a shining example of one of these religions clearly has it wrong when it comes to fasting. And Islam has it totally wrong about fasting. They do it to brag and just to follow the letter of Allah and to completely ignore the spirit of Allah. And maybe that'll be the next comparative religion video on how to be saved, how different religions say to be saved. Because that's very much the reason that they do these things, is because they think that they're the only way to get to heaven is to follow those little rules in life. That's how they think that they get to heaven, whoever are the best rule followers. Anyways, other religions, they like to brag about their fasting. Look at this guy's like sucking in his stomach. So a lot of people, they like, that guy's clearly just sucking in his stomach. Anyone can suck in their stomach. Guruism. I hate guruism and new ageism. These people that come off as being spiritually superior to people. This guy doesn't look super skinny to me. It just looks like he's sucking in his stomach, taking the piss. This person claims to be fasting for 6,800 days. What? That doesn't even make... Of course, these people are just doing their day fasting or something and then pretending that they're this amazing spiritual person who's fasting. I do a lot of intermittent fasting. Maybe that's why the whole Ramadan thing seems really silly to me, because it would not be that difficult for me to change my everyday lifestyle to be quote unquote Ramadan fasting just every day of my life. Because I don't do a ton of eating during the day. It's not that hard, really, to have giant meals at nighttime after the sun goes down and to be fine off of that. You can eat enough calories in one meal sitting. That's no problem. Anyways, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about comparative religion videos. Maybe some people will find this as offensive because people today have this idea of all religions are equal, but that's bullshit and that's dangerous. There's only one way to God, and that's through Jesus Christ is the only way to the Father. And hopefully there's some critically thinking people out there that were born into these backwards religions that have functioning minds and have open hearts to hear messages like this, that, come on, you gotta know the hypocrisy of traditions like Ramadan. And yeah, there's more to come. I have a lot to say about Islam because it's kind of the poster child of, like, because in America, Christianity, even though America tries to be a Christian nation, it's like this secretly evil thing too, because the Christians on TV are really these demonic people. They think of like TV Christian evangelicals, and there's all sorts of controlled opposition, false Christians in the American media. So really, it's, even though America pretends to be a Christian nation, there's so much programming that gets people to be turned off by Christianity, especially Blue Lodge, the more liberal areas. They really are programmed to think that Christianity is something that it's not. That's how I had no idea what Christianity was until I opened the Bible and read for myself and was like, wow, yeah, the Bible really isn't anything like the phony Christians that I didn't like. I realized that the people who I thought were Christians that I thought were phonies, they weren't following the Bible at all. Anyways, yeah, that's it for this video. This is a good topic, so let me know what you think in the comments. God bless everyone.